Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Nana Wanjau, the chairperson of the Commonwealth Business Women Network Kenya. I am also the CBWN Region Lead Africa, meaning I help other Commonwealth countries in Africa set up their own CBWN network. Powerful. Currently, we are working with Rwanda. So, who are we, Commonwealth Business Women Network Kenya? We are a ground partner of Commonwealth Business Women Network, CBWN. CBWN is a registered community interest company in the UK. CBWN is an accredited organization recognized by the 54 governments of the Commonwealth across 6 continents. We are committed to advancing the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 5 and the Commonwealth Charter. Commonwealth Business Women Network, we are focused on women's leadership and economic empowerment. We have a mandate to network over 1 billion women in the Commonwealth for the sole purpose of connecting, collaborating, and doing commerce. Having said that, our mission is therefore to strengthen the Commonwealth, build businesses, and advance women. Very passionate about that, advance women. Now, through these 3 T's of talent, training, and trade, we are able to work our mission. And through these 3 T's, we are able to encourage, enable, and embed women's economic empowerment. We've just come from a board meeting, which was attended by, of course, the board of CBWN Kenya, but also the senior leadership. And as we closed the meeting, Rose Maga, who is the Chief Technology Officer, said something so powerful. She was now talking to the board and the team behind Commonwealth Business Women Network Kenya. And she said, if you get tired of doing what you're doing now, if you get discouraged, what you have done is actually undone all the work of all the women who came before you and I. Because today we vote without even thinking twice. Today we own property without even thinking about it. Today we take government offices, we are presidents without even thinking about it. But it took a certain woman, certain women that came before us to enable us to be able to do the things we do and take for granted. So she challenged us that we do not have the luxury and no choice of saying we are tired, we are frustrated, we are exhausted, and we throw in the towel. What we are doing right now, we owe it to the next girl child, to the next generation. So why is CBW here? Film night. Thank you, Irene. Why are we here? We are here because we want to increase the participation and progress of women in the creative industry. Let me repeat that. We want to increase the participation and progress of women in the creative industry, helping turn their art into profitable business, turning their art into profitable business. That's why Commonwealth Business Women Network Kenya is on this platform.
And hello once again, ladies. As you can see, I'm out to movie night. I'm not playing. A little bit about myself. So my name is Rene Gamau. I wear very many hats. I'm a lawyer and I'm a leadership coach. And really the leadership coach is the bit that I'm passionate about. I run an organization called Renaissance, which is a play both on my name, the word sense, as in not so common sense, but also Renaissance, which is the revival, the renewal, the re-energizing, the inspiration of men and women, but particularly of women and women in business. One of the things that we do is Super Circles, which is our commitment to supporting women to start and to grow and expand their businesses. Why? Because women, when we build businesses, number one, studies have shown, particularly World Bank studies, 60% at least of the money that we get will go straight back into the household and to improving the lives and the general living conditions of our home. 2, women hire women, which means that we're not just building businesses for ourselves, we're collaborating and building and creating wealth as women for one another. 3, we all know that wealth creates choices that hitherto would not have been available to us. We know it. The truth on our continent is that when you have wealth, he won't fold that fist as quickly as he possibly could before. When you have wealth, you have a choice about where to live, like Nana said, whether you can own property or not, and you have the wherewithal to be able to do so, where your children go to school, the quality of the meals that you eat, etc. So this really is not just a passion, it is a mission. And I love movies. So because I do, it was an easy one to say yes. Of course, Nana, I'm going to say yes. Nana, are you muted? I can see you moving. Nana, are you muted? Let me just check if it isn't me who can't hear. Nana, you're muted.
Yes, I was muted.
There you go. Go on then.
Sorry, I lost something. I lost some network there. I didn't hear you. The last bit. What did you say?
It was probably Nana, are you muted about 5 times, but I'm kidding.
Okay, so we get into the movie night. The theme of the movie today is She Did That. Renee, did you see something I shared in our group? I did my own little video where I said she did that, I did that. And I really wanted everybody to share that thing because everybody here has done something powerful. She did that. This is a platform of women of all ages, from all industries, who against all odds have done remarkable things. These women have experienced what it is like to start a business. You start from your own investments, pocket money, from your own family savings, from friends coming together. They have failed in some of these businesses and they have stood again. They have had to hear the naysayers of what kind of industry are you getting into? How can you be making candles? Who's going to buy candles? That's such a luxury item. Who's going to spend money on buying candles? And yet they have persevered the journey of running a business. And the women we have here today are a true reflection of the women who've walked the talk of starting one business, multiple businesses, of going through the challenges of whatever it takes. And I really want to know what kept them going, or rather, what is keeping them going even during these times of COVID. We want you ladies to share your stories and your secrets so that all of us can actually walk like you. Let's start the show, Renee.
Okay, great. Well, I want to introduce our speakers our panelists this afternoon. These are just 2 amazing women. You've definitely heard of both of them, and I could go on. I mean, their CVs are as long as my arm and longer. But very, very simply, I'll start off with Dr.Catherine Masitsa. Catherine is the CEO of Samantha Bridal. And to say that Catherine is a trailblazer is probably even to, I don't know, understate what it is that she has done. I've had the occasion to listen to Catherine a number of times, and each time I learn something more about what it means to be bold beyond fear, what it means to be avant-garde to the point where you're doing things that have never been heard of before, and of the pain that sometimes comes with, and of the challenges, but also of the triumphs. A little later on, you'll find out a bit about her latest venture. Catherine is always thinking not just ahead, but thinking well into a future that she's not looking at, she's creating. And it's a real honor to have you on, Catherine. And let me introduce our second speaker. Our second speaker is Irene Kiwa. Now, Irene is an incredible human being in the sense that she really has a wonderful take on, and a take that we will be exploring on Africa, and a real Pan-African theme. I think it would not be wrong for me to characterize you, Irene, and correct me if I am wrong, as a Pan-Africanist, truly in the sense, that critical sense of the term, looking at the society, looking at economics, the interplay between the two, and how we transform this continent of ours. So welcome, Irene. So first of all, I think I'm going to ask both Irene and Catherine to unmute, and then I'm going to ask everyone else to mute and stay muted. A little bit about how this is going to go while they unmute so that it's easy for you to follow. We're going to do all sorts of things. We're going to go onto menti.com, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little while so that we can also hear what your views were on the movie. But if you've got any questions, any comments, any statements you'd like to make, please do so in the chat. Trust me, I'm sitting in front of what looks like rocket launch code. I've got like 4 screens up. I can see you and everything you'd love to say. And we really want to make this as interactive as possible. It's not like a Q&A. There's like no notes to be written. Let's just exhale, grab your coffee or your tea or stronger. You know, nobody's judging you. It's a Friday afternoon. And somewhere in the world, it's time for a glass of wine.
Yes, movie night. It's movie night.
It is indeed. And your popcorns, as we like to say in Kenya. And absolutely feel free to chime in on chat. So I want to start off with you, Catherine. I know that you have watched it 3 times, well, because you just said so. What really struck you about this movie?
Many things. What struck me is 3, in fact, the biggest thing is that most of the women who are like in business, the problems are the same. It means when we are in Kenya, even if you're in America, it doesn't matter where you are, we all have challenges. Well, the Americans may be having a racial, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement. We have our own challenges. Just Nana was mentioning that a few years, we take a lot of things for granted, like going to vote, like even just owning a title deed, like, you know, even going to work, traveling, we take a lot of things for granted. So what struck me is that, you know, we just have to make it. But the biggest thing was that it is not the people who have knowledge or skills or talent. It is really the courage to do it. The courage, having the courage to do it. These are the people. There's so many talents lying in the graveyard. But these women, like there was the scientist who decided, I'm going to do it. And she found, I mean, even doing whatever she was doing was even easier than cooking. You know, so that was really, really major for me. I mean, a lot of things, shall I go on? Let me give the opportunity to the other person.
Yes,
Yeah?
Irene. Absolutely. What struck you about this, particularly about this movie and about the women?
Thank you so much. What a great pleasure to be here. So many things struck me. And on top of what Catherine just said, you know, that women issues are women issues in Tanzania, in Kenya, in South Africa, in America, and everywhere. But also the other thing is where we're driven from. Yeah, if you listen to more of the stories from all the women, they were driven from a point of solving a problem. And that is what was really important. You know, what they were solving a problem, and they were courageous enough to go after that solving a problem, and because they had that vision of what they wanted to achieve, come what may, they knew where they were going. So they were not deterred from going towards their vision. So that was what really stood out for me.
I love that you've pointed out these sort of similarities that we have. You know, we kind of tend to think sometimes that women of color are those ones, and then Africans are these ones. And yet, when you watch the movie, it was so similar across board. It was just unbelievable. Ladies, I want you to go on to menti.com. I've typed it out on the side, menti.com, 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 and using the code 9160472, that's 9160472, 472. I want to ask you, what struck you most about this movie or about these women? And let me see if I can share my screen as well so that you can see some of the comments that you yourselves are making. Here's me sharing my screen, and go on to menti.com. That code again is 9160 Usually takes a minute for my computer to get on. There you go. I'm sure you can see it. And just put in what really struck you about these women? Let's go ahead and make your comments, and you'll be able to see them as they pop up. I know that you can see my screen. But there were also contrasts, things that sort of speak to a difference in the experience of the African American female entrepreneur as opposed to the Kenyan or the African female entrepreneur. What were some of these that you noticed, Catherine? I know there were particular ones that stood out for you.
Quite a number. Oh my goodness. So the fact that the kind of businesses we actually start and what motivates us to start them. Usually you'll find that, and this is true even in Kenya, that a lot of women will start businesses based on maybe our husband was transferred and we were just at home, and we realized we couldn't get even food for the baby, and we start a food industry. Or perhaps in my case, I was getting married, I realized, oh my goodness, who's serving all these corporate women? Or for example, in the areas of beauty, in the areas of even hair. And then what I also realized that when it comes to financing, I'm sure perhaps we'll go into that later, when it comes to things like financing, because we are coming from such a creative environment, we are not speaking the business language. And therefore, you could see all these women, it's a problem even I can identify with before I learned how to speak the business language, because this is what, in every game, at the end of it, when you're looking at financing, there are those people who are pressing the trigger, like that girl was saying, pulling the trigger. There are those people who are gatekeepers, and they understand the business language. So unless you can speak their language, you're not going to access any financing. So what stood out for me is that the need for education, to educate women to speak a business language. Therefore, we can also unlock the opportunities that exist. The other thing that stood out, of course, was things like, things like relationships. My goodness. I mean, all the women seem to, like that lady. I mean, this guy came and just cleared that, the fab financing lady. This guy comes and it took her years to recover. It took her she couldn't even talk about it. Men, issues with the relationships. I'm sure for the people who are viewing on Facebook, and even women here, I've met a lot of women who just have been entangled, like found themselves in these situations. And therefore, we need to be securing our businesses, and so that we can be safe. Things like work-life balance. My goodness, we think we can do it all. Like, we can really do it all. And therefore, looking after yourself, I see it a lot. I suffered from that. Like thinking you can, you start this business, just building that team, the team that is able to deliver. Renee, if you let me go on, I will just really go on. Sorry?
I know that you would. I know that you would really go on, but I love the themes that you're picking out. And I want to pick up on some of them. Ladies, even as you do say, I can see one of you has said, what struck you most about these women? Women do all the work in their companies. Men employ women to do the work in their companies. And by the way, that's a really, really good statement, one that I'm going to come back to. Open your tabs or your phones, go on to menti.com. That's www.menti.com. It'll ask you for a code. The code is 9160472. And you can see it right up on the screen because I'm sharing my screen with you. And just type out what struck you most about these women. Second statement, perseverance. Ain't that the truth? I want to pick up on that statement Irene, on women doing all the work in their companies and that magical word that Catherine has just said, which is balance. It seems like we feel a need or an urge to be everything in our business, right? From the tea lady to the delivery, boda and everything in between. What's going on that has us believe that it needs to stay over here?
Yeah, rightfully so. At the beginning, when you're starting a business, you find yourself in that position where you're the receptionist, the business development person. I remember 14 years ago when I started my media company, I would write an email as managing director and then copy my marketing person who was again me, and physically that is what I was doing. But I think the issue becomes in, first of all, having the right systems and structures and realizing that early on. And, as women, given the way we're built, we're nurturing individuals, so we want to nurture every department, and that's not even possible. So realizing early on that we need systems and structures that will allow us to bring in people who can do those things so that we can escalate and do other things. And some of us, take long to learn, some, learn early on, but it's something that we have to learn to do very quickly. And another thing, for example, when I was watching the movie, there was a specific statistic that was, quite strong, where it says in America, 2 billion women run their own businesses, but out of those 2 billion women, only 100,000 of them have employees.
Yes,
I mean, look at that. It's really, really, really huge and massive, and that's the case. So if we don't move from that quickly, we remain in the informal sector. If you look at the African numbers, for example, it's the same. Over 85% of African economies is in the informal sector, and over 60% of that is, led by women. So unless we move from that, and for me, this is what I have been working to try and change, for the most of my career, and looking at how we can use technology to support women move from the informal sector to the formal sectors, so that they can create the wealth that they deserve. And as you rightfully said in the beginning, Rene, when a woman has a business, the first thing that they do when they employ is employ other women. So creating wealth for the communities.
It's interesting that and I love that you pointed out that number, because I wrote it down straight away and actually went and looked for that article. And there's a number of articles that speak around this point, and which for me actually formed a contrast, because the World Bank actually has it that African women will employ 1 to 2 women not around their business, but as they gain more income. But that's because also I think of our society. If you think about it, if you're a bit well-to-do and you're able to go out and work, you'll probably have someone as a housekeeper, which immediately creates employment. So there might be just something there about the way their societies are shaped. But I still want to sort of maintain on this issue of doing all the work itself. Because if you watch the movie, and I know you have, and if you haven't, spoiler alert, it's about to happen right now. If you look at it, there's a bit where, there's Cece's Closet in New York City, and I'm probably going to like mangle this name. Myleik, I think that was her name, Myleik, the founder of Curlbox and My Taught You. And she talks about going into therapy, and actually speaks about psychotherapy not only as the thing that saved her, but also as a really great tool for women to employ or to use or to tap into. Catherine, what are your thoughts about finding balance, specifically looking for mental health practitioners and mental well-being practitioners to support us as African women as we run our businesses?
Well, I think it's issues of mental health are real in this society. Am I gone off?
Oh, have you? No, we can see you. I moved the screen. I'm going to bring it back on. But everyone still feel free to go onto menti.com and make your comments. We're going to move to the next one. Listening to you. Yes.
So I was saying issues. Well, some of you may not know. I'm actually married. My husband is a psychiatrist. So obviously, I'm going to say, of course, you go and look out. He's a consultant, neurologist, and psychiatrist. And so I really understand issues of mental health. And one of the things I've done in my past career, I worked for a pharmaceutical giant called Pfizer. And one of the products I really was in charge of was called Zoloft. It is a mental health, it's a medicine for mental health. And I did have an opportunity to look at a lot of issues in this area. And I feel so that within the African setup, mental health issues are not issues that are taken seriously. And it was shocking to hear this lady say that, you know, the Black American women, when they go to the hospitals to get medication, they are given a lower grade of medication because it is deemed that they can handle these things better. You know, women, and I think these are issues even we as women in this part of the world we can relate to. It's just assumed that women, we can take it all. We can take in everything, all the homework, the children, the what. And when we reach breaking point, so I feel so that women really must seek out help. They must seek out life balance. And I like this lady, the fact that she has really compartmentalized her life. She doesn't do non-work related things during work hours, and she will not do work during the non-work hours. So it is really important. And just finding, you know, there are many ways you can actually find assistance in terms of help. For me in particular, I talk about myself, I don't know about other people. Like in this time of COVID, some of the things that have actually kept me are groups like this one, the Commonwealth Businesswoman, and there are many opportunities. Actually, today I was thinking, Nana, at the end of the year, I need to buy you a drink and just tell you the things that I've really benefited from this. And just leveraging the friendships, listening to other women talk. At one point, there's a lady who said, every time a woman is sharing something about herself, you fuel another woman to actually go and do. So listening to women who are being honest, their stories, it just fuels you to wake up the next day. It can't be really that bad. So I would like to tell women to actually leverage that, friendships. The other thing that has actually helped me in particular is a few years ago, I went back to school, and these schools really, I went to Stanford, I was in Strathmore Business School, and I have a lot of business friends around me. So we meet in safe spaces and we can discuss. And so what I would like to say is that those are areas you can leverage. When you have a business problem, it is safe. And you can discuss and you can find that you're getting help. But there's also room for psychotherapy. If, for example, you're in an abusive relationship or you feel overwhelmed, you can't take it anymore. And there are signs you can look out for. Things like, you know, you're just not feeling interested in life anymore. There is no shame. Mental health is a sickness like any other. It's like high blood pressure, diabetes, malaria. So you should just be able, there's no shame there, no embarrassment, just go and seek help.
I love that, Catherine. I love that you've said seek help and that there is no shame. And so often as women, we think we have to take it on everywhere and we've got to be perfect. But there's something that you've picked up on as well that I want to sort of bring around to Irene. By the way, ladies, comments in the chat. I'm going to be calling on some of you to just, you know, let us know what it is that you thought. I might even sort of throw you under the bus a little bit, quote unquote, and ask you a question around the movie. But there's this point where I'm going to call them the Krabby Shack sisters, the two ladies who run the Krabby Shack. And they talk very intimately. I mean, you see a lot of sort of partnerships of women who are doing business together and collaborating. But these two struck me, especially at the point when one of them said, you know, since the husband of the other one passed on, what she's taken on is she's got to make sure that his sister is well. And it's a really poignant sort of point in the movie that speaks so loudly to what you've said, Catherine, about creating the safe spaces. Irene, safe spaces in Africa, there aren't very many of them for us as women. How do you identify where that safe space is, and how to breach the conversation to create the solidarity that Catherine is speaking about, where you can totally be yourself, be what TD Jakes calls naked and unashamed, have a crabby shack sister.
No, I completely agree with what Catherine said. You do need to have a support system that supports you, whether it's a professional counselor or family member or friendships. But like you've said, you know, with technology, it's becoming even more difficult to share, you know, because of how some of these tools are used to also create, to bully or to embarrass people. So I will look at it from a technology point of view. And my thing is, again, bring it back to my work, you know, so this next week, Monday, we're launching TWA, which is networking platform for women globally that is built with high levels of safety and privacy to allow women to connect with each other in a living room setting that is absolutely private and absolutely secured. And the way the platform is built is it's built for mentorship, counseling, networking, and community building at a very intimate setting. There's nothing like that out there, and I would love for you ladies to check it out and see how you can use it to continue to do the work that you're doing. But in Africa, I mean, when you talk about counseling, for example, you know, and I'm thinking about a psychologist and a SOFA, we don't really get to see that. For us, counseling is that auntie, you know, who would come and say, my daughter, you know, that's what I've been through too. How do you, you know, so it's not the same. But because of cultural issues, there's unrelatability, you know, if we're to talk about counseling from such advice to what is happening on the ground. And when you look, a lot of us would not even go and share with our parents or our mothers because we don't want to, you know, bring pain, you know, further pain into them. So, and there's also a lot of, you don't see a lot of collaboration, you know, between families, between friends, which is what I noted from watching the movies, you know, family members coming together and doing business together, or a group of friends, or, you know, there's not a lot of that happening in Africa in the same way it's happening there. Yeah, but those are some of the things that we need to start looking into and looking at how we can change and foster such. But yes, we definitely need to have that balance. For me, I resonate with one of the ladies who was saying, I look at what is important for me at that moment. Is it, you know, my stress? Is it, you know, I have 3 sons and you know, so is it my son? Which one? You know, is it my business? Is it so? And that's how I deal with my everyday issues. Whatever requires my most urgent attention at that time is what I will, you know, devote my time and attention in. But yes, I think with usage of technology tools, we need to be very proactive on how we engage, you know, in digital spaces and who we engage with and where we spend our time, you know, because some of the draining that we get and comes from the utilization of these tools in our lives, which they've become so critical. I mean, we cannot live without.
That is so true. I want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about the business itself and talk about the financing. And there was something that really struck me. So I love the lip bar. I sort of thought, where would we get that here? But Melissa Butler, who's one of the co-founders of she's the founder of the Lip Bar, spoke about her experience at the Dragon's Den. And being, as I am OCD, I then went and looked for that episode. Like, I had to just see what happened. And like, if you have watched a cringe moment, oh my goodness, it was just like, what can the dragons go and just like sit in the corner and think about their lives first of all before they come back and discuss lipstick? In fact, they shouldn't. They should just, you know, shush. Yeah. But you know, the question of financing and also the question of marketing our businesses is always such a challenge, getting people to understand what it is that we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we are looking for their money or why we're looking for their markets. I know, Catherine, that this is something that you have had to address over and over and over in your business. How do you speak the language of business so that people who do not understand what it is that you're doing get to understand why it is of value to them to either invest financially or open up the doors, like you said, as gatekeepers to their markets for you to go through?
Yeah, so there are many levels. It depends on who you're talking to. Obviously, I think if you have built a business, then you know how to talk to your clients. So it depends on what you're looking for. You may be looking for partnership. Maybe you're looking for equity financing. You're looking for debt financing. It's really important to understand all those things. It is important, first of all, even to understand, even to build a brand, yeah, to understand the value chain, to understand what is, you know, the size of your market, to understand the financials. Do you understand the financials, first of all? Do you understand all the different levels of even financing? Those are really important things for people to understand. Do you understand what are the risks within the market? Those are things people who are coming to your business want to understand. So it's a whole big topic, but I say that, yes, I'm going to watch that episode, but I think what was, because it's a problem I have had to endure being in the wedding business. I remember one particular experience I had just when we launched. I went to a bank and I wanted to do business with them. And this lady was like, I mean, we don't deal with flowers. Why are you here? And it was really shocking for me in the sense that even people who are getting married need the financing. But I was here because I wanted this particular bank to invest in form of advertising in my business. So immediately after that, I engaged myself to do one of the biggest surveys that have never been done in this country, to just do a survey on the wedding industry, to find out exactly what is the size of the market. And I see a lot of statistics being quoted and they can only be attributed to us. Now we are working on a new one together with a company called Tifa. And, but we know we had to go and find out in one wedding, how much is being spent, who is spending, like go deeply. What is the contribution to the national budget? How many people are we employing? And recently, even that came into play during the COVID time, when all the creatives are like, can we get a bit of that financing? And, you know, the president wants to know, I'm sure when they're seated in that room, they want to know exactly how many people are you employing? Exactly, you know, this language. And every time, believe me, when I go on a national platform, say even I've struggled to get in the business time, the business schedule, I'm asking the journalist, you ask me, I don't want to hear about flowers and gowns and everything. I want to talk a business language with you. They don't know what to ask me. They always gravitate back to the dress, the look. We need to talk about business. We need to talk about, you know, how we are impacting the economy. Exactly where do we fit in? Those kind of things. So it is very true that women, we have to work a little bit much harder and educate the gatekeepers, because those gatekeepers are there. And if we do not educate them and keep knocking the doors, we'll just be locked out. So what I want to say to women is that what I did even in the last couple of years was to go back to school. I have an MBA, but I went back to school to do, to relearn, completely relearn, rewire myself. I did the honor managers program. I think I alluded to it. And I can see Hazel. I saw Hazel here. She was my mentor at one point at Strathmore. And even listen to just business people talk a business language. And by the way, in that class, like we were maybe 10 women, a lot of them were men. So it's not a problem that is peculiar to women only. Like I said, business at the end of the day is business. So let's learn that language. Yeah.
I have a question. Before
Go on, Anna.
For Catherine. Catherine, I want you to go a little bit back, because I asked myself, when Catherine was starting this Samantha Bridal, people must have thought she's crazy. Who's gonna pay you to put flowers and hire tents, because I imagine when you started, it was just about tents and maybe a flower here and there. I want you to, because this documentary we watched, it's about a lot of women who started businesses from their kitchen, as well as just a passion of what they know and they love, and they know they can do this. What one drove you to start this business? And I want to know those early struggles, those early doubts that you had that you could actually do this, or rather even turn this into a business. That's for you, Catherine. But I want to go a little bit back because I missed a conversation. Renee, you were talking about a psychologist getting mental health and so on. I thought that maybe it's because traditionally women, we're not business-like, business-minded. We're homemakers. So the idea of now launching into business is quite recent for us women. And therefore, we don't know, obviously, the language, that is one, but also where to go, because we do it all. One thing I would like to actually pass on to, young businesswomen who are already struggling, is mentorship. We need to seek mentorship and coaching from those who've walked the journey before us. This is, for me, what personally has helped me. Having, first of all, deliberately seeking for somebody who is mature in my industry or have walked the journey in various leadership capacities, and I ask for their guidance. Basically, I ask for their mentorship and coaching for them to work with me. This has helped me tremendously, because these people are able to tell me at a point where I feel like I'm about to collapse, that chill, girl, it's never that serious. Chill. Sleep over it. Take a weekend off. Don't discuss this. Let it go. Monday will be a new day, and trust me, things will be different. So sometimes, and I think this is something we need to teach our business women and young women, to seek mentorship. Yesterday, I was listening to a program where Dr. James Mwangi was speaking, and he said something that stuck with me. Mentorship is a two-way relationship. And sometimes you just can't take on people who want you to mentor them, because it's not just a conversation. It involves this other person seeking mentorship, showing the ability and willingness to act on the advice that they are being given. Those are my 2 cents. Renee, back to you.
No, that's excellent. I think you've made a really good point. And Catherine, I'm going to let you come in terms of the comment on how you started. I think it's a fascinating story and well worth telling. But I want to respond to the issue on coaching and mentorship. But first, just sort of push back on the statement of we didn't do it before. I actually view it differently. Women have always been in business. We've just not been in business in this fashion. If you think about it, our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers not only tilled the land and produced, but also they traded that produce for what it is that they needed for their houses, for what it is that they needed for their children, etc., etc. They made the beadwork, they did the clothing, they cured the hides that were then passed on to the young men, who then walked, the long distances that they did to go and trade with them in other places. So business is not, I don't actually think that business is foreign to us. I think the platform on which business is presently being done is one in which there isn't that space for us to do business presently, and one in which we have to recarve and redefine our space in it. But I agree with you definitely on the coaching and the mentorship. And of course, I agree with you because I've made my whole life about, raising women in business. And I'll very, very briefly let you know the reason why. I have a goal of training 1 million women to confidently run successful businesses. 1 million women. And I'll show you the math behind it, okay? Real quick. In Kenya, there's about 50 million of us, okay? So ballpark about 50 million. Of that, we're half and half, men and women. I know we're like 50.2% according to the last census. So half of us are women, that's 25 million. If you consider that about 60% of us are below the age of 18, so we can take away about 13 or 14 million girls, and that will leave us with about 13 or 12 million. If you consider that 1 million of us are over the age of 65, that leaves us with about 10 million, okay? 10 million women. 10% of 10 million, 1 million. 1 million women running successful businesses. If each one hires 4 women, that's 5 women in that business, right? Do the math, 5 women, that's 5 million. We know the kind of society that we're in. If 5 million women are earning good money, they will hire and buy from 5 million other women. We will buy our shoes, our clothes, do our hair and our nails, get domestic help, find teachers and tutors and math and music teachers from other women, because women will gravitate towards women. These 5 women in your business will hire 5 more women. That's 10. 10 women impacted by 1 woman's business. Multiply it by 1 million. 10 million. These 10 million women don't just raise the 12.5 million girls. They also raise the boys, take care of the husbands and the old people. We transform our nation just like that. But this is my story. Rose, you've got something you want to say before we go to Catherine. Go ahead, unmute.
Okay, sorry, I just joined in.
No, jump in.
Yes, and I had the conversation going, and I picked it when Catherine was talking about finances. You had asked the question about finances and the challenges that go about that and the pitching and all that. And I think we underestimate the simple fact that men don't know what they don't know. Generally, people don't know what they don't know. So men don't know what they don't know. So if they're going to help women, how will they help them when they don't know? But that throws a challenge to us. And I'm glad Catherine mentioned about going extra to do the survey, to be able to come back with statistics and the numbers. We women, I think, get to some point and get lazy. We've seen women drop out of the corporate ladder because it's getting tough, and then going and just diminishing. What I want to say is that there is so much more you can do, even off the corporate ladder, that can make it better for the next woman. For the women who have succeeded, I'm privileged. I think next week I'm going to be meeting with Gina Dean, but I'm privileged to have a mentor who is Dr. Jennifer Riria, who started the Kenya Women Finance Trust Bank, and specifically for women, that if women don't intentionally do things for women, no one else will do it. So if we want to do financing for women, for those of us who've been ahead, for those who are ahead, have to come up with products specifically for women. And for those, and they should be unapologetic about it. We should be able to do things specifically. I am in IT, I run an IT company, who this year I made a decision that the board members will all be women, non-apologetically. Because if we're saying women can do it, why are we getting to some point? And again, it will go back to us. We cannot expect that men will understand what we do. You've dealt with it. Your husbands at home, your boyfriends, your sons don't even understand what you are talking about or how you see things. How do you expect them to see them enough to invest in it? So we women have to do a lot more. And for those of us who've been privileged to get onto a platform, we must non-apologetically push the envelope.
That's a fantastic statement. As you can see, yeah, Irene, you and I'm quite sure everyone else is just celebrating you. Catherine, I want to get back to you so that you can make a reaction to what Nana said and also make your closing remarks in kind of about, shall I give you 2 minutes? Would that be fair? And then I'll come to you, Irene, before sending it back to Nana. So I don't know that you can tell your story in 2 minutes, but do the best you can.
So first of all, I don't, Rose, there's something she has said. And in this movie, these ladies talk about that, you know, these people who keep on making money from women, but they don't like to invest in us. And therefore, we must make a conscious decision to, when we are consuming, we consume consciously. Why are we buying things from people who are not supporting us? So we have to interrogate, even these corporates, If they do not have a woman on their board, we have to boycott them. We really must make these decisions. And then for women, you know, once they know that, that is a way of, you know, Rose, supporting those women you're talking about, the ones who are on the corporate ladder and they feel they just want to drop out. They're dropping out because we women are not pushing. We have to ask questions. Anyway, that said, I want to say that starting my business, yes, initially it was challenging. Yes, I'm one of those people who wrote, I recently found a card, I was the sales manager, and then it was that, you know, I started off in media, magazines, and then it was that, oh, you know, that you need a lot of capital to start the business. So who is behind you? It was a very strange time in Kenya. So you wanted a voice of a man. I gave my husband, who was a doctor at that time, well, he was a boyfriend. You want to hear a man's voice? Call him. This is these are my directors. Call them, and they would call. Or you want to hear Mzungu voice? You will hear one. So, you know, and sometimes you have to keep and focus on what you want. And when I launched Samantha's Bridal later on, an idea which I got from my own wedding, but starting business, I started on my dinner table. And I had really learned. I had learned what clients want. And let me just say, launching Samantha's Bridal was one of the most successful launches I've ever done. I got money from a corporate company that was sponsoring me. If I tell you I got about 5 million to launch at the time, that is not money. To get that money today.
And this was in, what year was this?
2004. Like, to launch, for them to just be part of my event. Like, there was nothing else more. And the doors were opening. But what I realized, because I had a rather sharp focus in realizing that this was a beauty brand that came in to sponsor me, but I had a rather sharp focus in the sense that it took me like 3 months to convince one corporate client. But it took me one afternoon sitting with a woman in business for them to sign up on the dotted line and run an ad. So therefore, what I did was to focus on this group of people. And therefore, just coming back to the movie says that the reason why so many Black Americans are starting businesses right now is because there's so many opportunities. We have been left, because of the color of our skin, because of our race, we have been left out, and nobody cares about our needs. And because nobody cares about our needs, there's lots of opportunities to do that. So Samantha's Bridal was very, very successful because that market, nobody even knew it existed. To date, I still struggle a little bit with some corporates, but hey, I mean, I don't have to prove anything to anyone, but it was one of those things that I had a rather sharp focus in terms of knowing what my market was. But also, my closing remarks are that when I started business, I was very, very clear on what I wanted. Financial freedom, personal freedom, and to also to have the creative freedom to run a business, to build a business that I would love, that would allow me to actually, you know, focus on my family and my life, but at the same time, build and impact the community. And I think so that since 2004, I think the results speak for themselves. So people should not be afraid of taking the risk. Like Carol's daughter says, I think, would she have done it? Just the thought of what if would have been much worse. And I tell you, this is one of the things that has kept me. The thought of one day I will sit and somebody has done my idea and where will I hide? So therefore, I keep on going on. It's better to risk than thinking, what if? Thank you very much.
That's awesome. I love that you said so. And I love your earlier allusion to Dr. Nadia Lopez and asking, where does our money go? And why are we consumers and not producers? Even in simple things, when we're going to the supermarket, who are we buying from? Are we picking women's products first? Brilliant, brilliant statement. Irene, closing remarks, and then I want to invite the Vice of CBWN Kenya, Joki Mohoho, to say a few words. So I'm going to give you the same 2 minutes, and off you go. Closing remarks, things you want to leave us with.
Great, thank you so much. Catherine, that was very, very powerful. And I love that you say it since 2004. So it's been a journey. There's really, when people think of overnight successes, it takes 15 years, 20 years to make an overnight success. So well done, and great on that. So for me, the things that I would like to leave you with, based out of this discussion and the movie, is first that point about thinking about being producers and not consumers. And this goes for everything, you know, from the cars that we drive to the technologies that we consume to the entire value chain of the things we use. And for me, this is what made me to start thinking about, you know, yes, there's so many social networking platforms out there. There's LinkedIn, there's Facebook, that they're still not feeling a specific need for women, where women can engage collaboratively, where women can invest in each other, where women can find mentors, where women can find all the things that we yearn for. And for me, that is TWA. It's been a 14 years journey to get to where we are today, where we're launching this platform. And
Irene, I'm going to interrupt you, I apologize, because I think you need to share your journey setting up TWA. It's very, very inspiring, because this is what we're all about. We have business women here who are trying, and they're struggling, they're frustrated, they're about to give up. You've walked this journey for 14 years, Irene. Please.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. So
your wins and losses.
Awesome. Okay.
And then
so,
we can close.
Okay, great. So I started my company when I was 24 years old. I graduated from university, and you know, I've always wanted to be self-employed and build a global media company. That's what I wanted to do. 2 years into starting my business, I had an opportunity to consult for a client doing research in 12 regions in Tanzania. And every evening I would spend time with young girls my age, younger, older, to just find out about, you know, because I was very driven. I'm 26, I have my own company. I'm out here running things for clients. Like, I was feeling like I was on top of the world, and I had all this big vision for myself. So in the evenings, I'll speak to these young girls and I'm like, yeah, so what you want to be when you know, in 10 years, you know, who's your mentor? Come on, let's talk about your vision. And by the end of the 12 regions trip, I realized very quickly that I was one of the very few, if not under 5%, of very lucky girls in not just Tanzania, but Africa, who first have access to education all the way to a university degree, can start their own businesses, you know, have the resources and tools and the support that I had. The rest of girls my age had gone through so much, you know, from dropping out of school to, you know, early marriages to poverty to, because what I realized, you know, all the girls I spoke to, all they cared about was, you know, what I've called to term a per day lifestyle, you know, like, what food do I have tonight and tomorrow? How do I survive these next 24 hours? And, you know, it hit me very strongly that, you know, my role moving forward is to make sure that I create platforms that will empower these girls in one way or another. And when I got back, we launched a corporate social responsibility program to mentor girls. So we identified young women leaders across Tanzania, created a mentorship platform, physical, where we paired them with mentors and created curriculums to support them. So we did this for over 4 years, and on the back of it, you know, we created women forums, you know, so we can create more sheroes and, you know, create more avenues to highlight successful women, so that, you know, all these girls we're trying to mentor and impact can have relatable, can see the relatability and learn. So fast forward, by early 2003, we had to register an NGO because the work that we're doing grew beyond a corporate social responsibility for a company. We registered the Women of Achievement NGO, and we continue to do these programs. I think that's about the time when I connected with Nana. But around 2015, I realized very quickly that, you know what, women empowerment, progress, whatever it is we're doing is not a country thing. If we continue to be confined within our countries, we will never really succeed. So for me, that's when I became Pan-African. You know, I realized we need to operate as a continent because we are as strong as the opportunities that are available across the continent. So we started looking at how to use technology to do the work that we've been doing, and we piloted in 2017 a very rudimental platform, Twa, and very rudimental. Like I was even ashamed to put my name on it. Really, we did not advertise it, but we used it to, to just understand use cases. And it had over 10,000 users in 8 countries without any promotion. And in 2018 is when we started building what we are launching now, which I can't wait to hear your feedback. But the best way to explain what Twa is, if I ask you what are the top 10 platforms that you use today, I'm sure you'll say Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Zoom, Quora, Udemy, plus. Imagine if they were all one platform and the use case was, knowledge sharing, mentorship, and opportunity sharing, and it focuses on women globally. So it is the first of its kind, and it is from Africa to the world, and it is built by women for women.
Website on the chat for everybody to see.
Yes. So that's been the journey. And during this time, it's been 14 years to get to where I am, but it's through meeting the right people. Somebody said, we have to learn the languages. Yes, but there's also people for us. There's a person for everything. We just need, it's like going to a McDonald's and asking for a pizza. I don't even know if they sell pizzas there. So we just need to find the right, the right people who are suited for the kind of things that we do. But we also have to be bold in asking for the money. And when we can't get money, let's ask for collaboration. So in my mind today, when I see people, I only see collaboration. How can I plug to them, and how can they plug to me? In absence of money, that allows us to achieve the same growth that money would bring. Sometimes it's not even money that we need from day one. It's just someone to use our product, or someone to collaborate with, or how do we plug into that value chain of what we're doing. So there is quite a lot to be learned, but through platforms like this, and through a platform like Twa. Renee, next week on Wednesday, I'm on you.
I'm here for you.
Yeah, able to achieve these things, and really going outside the box and thinking about, there's nothing we can't do. People wonder, okay, you're a media company. I still have my PR and media company. We're now in Tanzania, Kenya, and we're going to be in 25 countries in Africa in the next year through collaboration. So we can do everything that we want. There's no limits. There are no limits, absolutely no limits to the things we can achieve. But through collaboration, we are able to achieve bigger things. I would not have been able to build this technology without collaborating with the right people. We're great pitchers as women. We're always pitching, so pitching, collaboration, and having discussions about business. A group of friends, I've noticed this. You may find a group of 10 people, 3 people, they're friends, but they don't talk about business. We spend a lot of time talking about everything except, the work that we do and how we can add value into each other's lives.
Wow. Wow. And you wanted to keep all that to yourself. Thank you. Back to you, Renee.
I think, Irene, there's a number of things that you said which are just so true, which and what I'm going to take away from that, including your incredible story. And please put www.twa, T-W-A-A, I think it is, isn't it? twaa.io. Did I get it right? Put it in the chat so that everyone can follow. And Catherine, I'll ask you too about to put your link, particularly your link to Samantha Bridal and to the course, because Catherine's now doing more than just talking her talk and running her business for herself. She's now passing on the information to others. You know what you spoke about, mentorship. Catherine, can I talk about you a little bit in front of your face, not behind your back?
And even give me, talk about it and give me 1 minute, something I forgot to say.
So here's the thing about women. We need to put our stuff out there. And I teach that in my courses all the time. You need to know what you're about and not be afraid to say it over and over. So here's the thing. I'm going to do this for Catherine this time. And then she's going to owe me 10 more times when she's got to repeat it for herself in front of audiences, which is this. Catherine's got a wealth of information. of the 16 years that she has built this business with sheer grit and tenor. I mean, you can see her energy when she talks about her business. But she's now done the next thing, which is she's put together a course that allows you, if you're in events, to literally, it's a plug and play, complete with templates and everything that you need for you to be able to start that business. And it is, because I asked her earlier about this, I talked to Catherine a lot and I really love collaborating with her. It's brilliant because it's not a business for which you need capital. You can literally, between your creativity, your resourcefulness, your energy, and this information that she imparts, just start now, especially in COVID times. Most people will slow down when there's a crisis. Most people will stop buying shares when shares go down. That is conventional wisdom or lack thereof. Unconventional wisdom is buying shares when they've gone down because that's the cheapest, because you know that when they hit rock bottom, there's only one place they can go. Unconventional wisdom is investing in the business so that you're ready. Think about this. Of 5 restaurants in your area, 4 are probably going to close down. If you're the one restaurant owner who survives, when this is over, my friend, you've got the market for all of these people. That's the kind of thinking that you've got to be doing. Now, I know that we sort of do this by ear to a certain extent, and I know that our time has expanded, but there's just so much to talk about. Nana, I need for you to say yes so that I can allow Catherine to do her pitch, because it's an incredible one. Did I hear a yes? Did I hear yes from you, ladies?
Yes. I'm very excited because I'm
excellent.
also
yes. Put your hands up.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry to hear these women's stories.
Oh, great. Am I? Yes, you can hear me. So yes, like Renee has said, I have been around, and I know how to make the wedding and events industry work. I know what it takes. So, but I also, in terms of, let me just speak about creatives in general. One of the problems we have is that we talk a lot. We can go to a meeting and come out of that meeting, we didn't even come out with what we really wanted. So what I've done is actually improve on our course offering. And let me say, we decided to build, because it's a problem that I saw within the industry, that this is a place where everybody who has been fired comes to. This is a place where anybody who can't find a job comes to, but yet actually we are in charge of the image of this country, whether you're in hospitality or something like that. So I decided to do something for the country and start the training. So if you come and train with us, or if you know of any young person who would like to get into the experience industry, by the way, before COVID, experience industry was growing at a rate of 20%. Kenya, we are growing at 4%. When Kibaki was on, we were growing at 5.8%. We all felt it. So imagine growing at 20%. That is the experience industry. It's gonna come back. So what I've done is to create this plug and play. For example, you're starting, you don't need any money to start. You're meeting that client. From the time your phone rings, what should you say? How should you conduct that consultation? To meeting this client, what should you say in this meeting? We have templates complete with scripts. If you have to write them an email, we have thousands of emails you can choose from. You just plug and play. After that, how do you onboard this client? After that, what is the next thing? How do you design that experience? It has never been done before on the continent. It is the first time, and we are very, very, very excited. So we went back to relook at our curriculum. And therefore, this is something you can just buy the templates, they're ready, or you can come and actually train. You will learn. I've got a few things, tricks, and tools that I can actually give to you. The other thing which I have to say it here, which we are launching very soon. I want you to all look out for it, because I really will need your support. Of course, being inspired by, the colorful imagery of weddings, being inspired by handwritten vows, we wanted to bottle all these up. Those perfect moments that you just want to relive. Now, we are bottling all that up. And before the end of the year, let me just say, to be precise, beginning of November, we will have our products on the shelf. We have bottled love in a bottle. You can get you can, whatever moment you want to create, we have created those products. So when you see them on the shelf, please make a conscious decision. The wedding industry employs a lot of women. Renee, the wedding industry is the biggest employer of women and the youth. So
wow.
if you buy that product, you're empowering us. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Right, ladies, well, one last Menti. I want to know, what did you love most about that movie? Go on to menti.com and let us know, what did you love most about the movie? You're going to see it if you just check. You're going to be able to see the code when you go to menti.com is 9160472. What did you like about the movie? Comment fupi fupi tafadhali as we invite our vice to say a couple of words. Jockey?
Hi, Renee. Hi, everybody. Catherine, you won't remember this.
Jockey,
You
where
and
are
I know each other. Yes?
Jockey, where are you?
I'm here. I'm right here. You can't see
There you are. You know I have to see you.
I'm here. Catherine, you won't remember. It's many, many years. We knew each other even before you began your company. And what most people here might not know is that, Catherine, you're even ridiculed by people about your business. People are making fun of it. And
They must
before
be making fun.
yes, yeah. And before you knew it, I mean, Catherine made a very, very good and business that's still surviving now. So kudos for you, Catherine, and I admire you. Well done, well done. So I thought I should, several things. I want to go to, as we conclude my 2 minutes, I will go to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do this? Why do we do this film nights? Encourage sharing our stories, telling our own stories, instead of waiting for the rest of the world to tell our stories with their own tweaks. So here we can tell our stories, the truth, whether people want it or not, but this is how it is. And also to celebrate ourselves, blow our trumpets, which we've been cultured not to do, but we're going to do it, and we're going to encourage others to blow their trumpets, and also give each other support and to say kudos to our sisters. Now, Nana, I want to take you back to when we watched the, is it Bring the House Down? Is that the title? I'm terrible at remembering titles.
Yes, yes it is, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know when I watched the presidential candidate Biden make his big, big speech, and then who gave a speech on behalf of the minority? Alexa, the one who was in that movie.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
felt like saying, our Alexa, you know? And I thought, that's what this film night is all about. She's all the way out there in the US, a Latino in New York, very, very young, who was from very ordinary life. And she dared join this project for campaigning against older, white, well-experienced, rich, and everything guy. And she made it. She made it. Now, I thought, just seeing her there, I thought a very strong bond. And it reminded me, that's why we do these film nights. So that's one thing, we're encouraging each other. And then I feel there's one particular scene in this particular film we're discussing, the mother with the 2 daughters, the daughters who designed their own clothes and all that. And then it came back to me that we also have a role to encourage our daughters, our nieces, you know. And I remember the mother saying, I don't even interfere, whatever they want to design. And for her, whatever they design, it's wonderful. It's the best design, is couture, it's everything, you know. And I felt it's not just us encouraging each other, it's us encouraging the younger girls as well. So kudos to our guest tonight, and thank you, Renee, so much for great facilitation. Those were my 2 words. I said 2 minutes. I think I've done 2.5.
That's fantastic. Nana.
Yes, my takeaway from this, thank you, Njoki, for reminding us this. You also reminded us in our board meeting earlier. I am so glad that Rose spoke earlier. Rose Magers, who is here on this forum today, is part of the senior management team of CBWN. She is the Chief Technology Officer of CBWN International. She's in the forum and she spoke, but I am glad she's here because I'm about to put her on the spot. A few words I've heard that I'm going away with: collaboration. I mean, if there's one word that should define us as women, is collaboration. When I listen to Catherine, when I listen to Irene, all I hear is collaboration. And I take it as part of CBWN's mission to collaborate with Irene and Catherine in the areas they are currently pursuing. Catherine, when I started, I said, we are in this business as CBWN Kenya to ensure that women turn their art into profitable business. We want to collaborate with you on how we can engage the creatives. There's a lot of potential there. And I'm speaking, and I'm very happy that one of our senior leadership is actually here on this forum. We want to see how we can collaborate with you to ensure that your mission, our mission, moves forward in terms of turning art into profitable business for women. Irene, we've been speaking about the TWA platform for a very, very long time. So you should be happy when I say Rose is our Chief Technological Officer and she's here on this platform. So when it's not now going to be you and me, I have to loop her into that conversation to see how we can collaborate going forward. I heard collaboration, I heard education. Women, Catherine said she had to go back to school. And that is something we need to take personally as women. If we don't know the language, we have to learn the language. But personal development to me is personal. We have to be interested, and we are so lucky we live in an age where there is so much information. In fact, when this COVID started, I remember something that was going around the online platforms that if you don't grow during COVID in terms of intellectually, you can never ever blame anybody for anything. There's so much free information, free learning. Most of you know that I registered in a Harvard Business School online program because when COVID started, a lot of their programs were brought online and we were able to afford it, some of us. Continuous learning is personal. We must do that as women. Mentorship. Ladies, I say this so often. If you are going anywhere, you need a mentor, you need a coach. Renee is here. She's a great coach. I've worked with her. She's worked with me. She continues to work with me. So if you're going anywhere, we must seek mentorship and coaching. Finally, where is our money going, ladies? Where is our money going? We are the biggest spenders. The only thing we need to do is now deliberately align with women-owned businesses. Let's support our sisters. Whether we are buying food, whether we are getting married, whether we are getting connected, whether we're getting mentorship, let us remember that my money, I am going to spend it, and I want to spend it on a sister. For so many reasons that we already know, I can't even go into. Let's make it deliberate that we spend our money on a sister-owned business. I believe with those few remarks, Renee, I have closed my bit of a session. Back to you.
Thank you ever so much. I think mine is just to thank you and to thank you all for just signing in. from one Renee to another. Renee, I'm about to destroy your name because I know you're going to watch this. So I tagged her on Instagram and I was like, guess who we're talking about today? Because if we're going to collaborate and we're going to talk about each other and we're going to support one another, let's tell each other about it.
Yes.
So Renee, I'm really sorry. I'm going to say Glurt. I'm not really sure how to say your last name, but from one Renee to another, from one sister to another, in fact, from an entire nation of sisters to an entire nation of sisters. We say thank you for having produced this. This is so incredible, by way of just getting us to really acknowledge who we are, what we do, and what we contribute, and to make it bigger. And I'll leave you all today, this Friday, with the words out of her blog space, In Her Shoes, and the storytelling caption. And I thought, even more than I did that, and I know that I have done any number of things for which I am proud, here's my pledge for the future, that is Renee's pledge for the future, that I hope is all our pledges from the future. And I quote, I will inspire women who are ready to take the leap and keep those who are already up and running motivated. Thank you once again, and have a good evening.